Hello everybody, how's it going? I'm the Tmeister and welcome back to the Greater Timbukton region. In this episode, guys, we are going to begin construction of the waterfront area around downtown Timbukton. But before getting into that, I'd like to sort of finish this residential area around downtown here, just to show you guys what to expect for the downtown area. So, with Timbukton being based upon Halifax, Halifax is loaded with a lot of very antique housing and old apartments, and it's a pretty old city, right? It was developed like way back in like the 18 and maybe even the 1700s, I think. So a lot of the houses there are very, very old, and it's a very densely populated city as well. For the size of it, it's on a little peninsula. Everything is all condensed together, so this is the sort of same situation I'm trying to go for here. So we're just going to finish up this little area here and then move on to the seashore in just a couple minutes. So for Timbukton, obviously it's the centerpiece of this entire series, and I'm going to be focusing a little bit more detail in these sort of areas. And as you can see me here, I'm plopping down some pavement, making like these little driveways all over the place and making sure that everything sort of makes sense. I'm going to be spending a lot more time on each individual house as well, so plopping down fences and maybe plopping down some swing sets and little parks and stuff in everybody's backyard. So I'm going to be paying attention to a little bit more detail in Timbukton. So I guess this can serve as a little heads up as to what's coming in the series. In the last episode, I kind of left you guys in the dark as to why I was super busy lately and sort of lagging behind releasing new City Skylines videos. So I'm going to explain exactly what's going on with that. So on the side here and there, I've been working on a video editing course, which will be available online sometime early next year, probably end of January, mid-February, depending on how things go. But essentially, I'm working on a video editing course for Vegas Movie Studio, which is the video editing software I use for all my videos. And I just wanted to help any aspiring creator or anyone looking to maybe start some gaming videos or vlogging or whatever the case may be. And I'd like to help them understand better how to use the software, as it can be very daunting for beginner creators. It can be a very intimidating software. So I just go over the ins and outs of the software, explain how everything works, and that'll be available to you in the coming months. So as we finish up this residential section, for the most part, I have a couple little details to add. I mostly created some very old, low-rise apartments and a few houses here and there that are really close together. And like Halifax, I mean, most of the city is comprised of these sort of neighborhoods. So with the neighborhood being pretty much complete, I'm going to start to work on the actual waterfront. And the first thing we're going to build here is a farmer's market right downtown. This is based on the actual market in St. John. It's the oldest market in North America, actually. It's been open since like the 1700s or something like that. So it essentially looks a little bit like this, actually. It's just a big pier right in the city, and there's a big building in the middle of it, which houses the actual market. So the waterfront is sort of going to be comprised of these sort of piers all over the place, which will host a variety of different buildings and different things. So in this case, it's a market, and we will be moving on to another pier in just a minute here, which will house some apartment complexes, as well as a ferry that will allow passengers to cross from Burton to Timbukton in a relatively short amount of time. So I will be working on the waterfront piece by piece, as Timbukton will have a very large waterfront stretching from pretty much one end of the other of downtown. There will be a large seaport eventually, and I don't want to give I don't want to give away too many details just right yet, but there will be some military activity going on in the actual port a little bit later in the series. My strategy for developing this wharf, or waterfront, or whatever you want to call it, I was basically just zooming in and out of the map, trying to make something that looks relatively good, as I'm far from an expert on how ports or waterfronts work, or why they're built the way they're built. So I'm really just going by feel for this entire thing. But by the end of it, I mean, I'm pretty satisfied with the way everything works. I didn't spend too much time on it. And now began the time to sort of plan out where everything is going to go. So I didn't really have an idea where or how this waterfront was going to be used. All I knew was I wanted to build a market, a marina, plop down maybe a couple of luxury apartments. So this was a really go by feel sort of project. So I have not actually mentioned this yet in the episode. You've seen that little cutscene where I've created the basic outline for downtown, and I haven't really talked about that yet. So I'm gonna briefly go over what my plan is for downtown. So off camera, I've developed the basic skyline for downtown, and as usual, I got carried away a little bit, and I plopped a little bit more than what I originally was going to do. And this just serves as a way to get a feel of how downtown is going to look like in the future, and it helped me get a little bit more inspiration on creating this project that I'm doing right now, the coastline here. So I didn't want to start directly on the coastline and, jump into downtown a couple of episodes later and have everything just not fit the way I wanted it. So to me, it felt more natural to construct the basic outline of downtown first. And usually when starting any city in, the history of me playing city builders, I've always started with downtown. So with this series, it was a little bit of a challenge for me, because when we started with Aberdeen, that was a little bit different than what I was used to, just because I'm used to starting off with, the biggest downtown and expanding outwards. In this case here, we've done the opposite. We're expanding inwards. So basically with downtown, it has not been detailed or anything like that. I've only plopped down some buildings, but don't worry guys, we're gonna jump into downtown in a couple of episodes. And as you may have guessed, this is where the ferry depot is going to be placed. So after a little bit of testing and trying to figure out what would look best in this area, I decided to go with the ferry depot. Now this was a quite challenging area to build around just because of the tight space that we're dealing with here. So I tried to fit everything as best as I could, and after this episode, we're not quite done yet, as there's going to be a bus depot that will be in this area as well. So if somebody were to take the ferry across the river, they will also be able to take a bus into downtown or wherever they want to go. So I think it's going to be a pretty busy spot once this place is operational. So I just tried to fit everything together as nicely and efficiently as possible. So it proved to be quite challenging. And right beside the ferry depot, as you see me plopping down right now, is going to be some luxury apartments right by the waterfront. And right below the apartments is going to be a nice marina where the wealthy citizens of Timbukton can go and park their sailboats or their yachts or whatever they have. And with this being very close to the power plant, I decided to plop a couple of industrial buildings that may be owned by the Port Authority, just to little warehouses and things like that. So basically what we have now is the essential outline of the entire area. So we have our main buildings that are placed down, and what is left to do now is just to populate the area with some details. And to make it even more efficient, what I'm doing right now is plopping down some walkways where if people don't want to take the bus or whatever the case may be, they can simply walk on up onto the main level, I guess, of the city and into this residential section and wherever else they want to go. So hopefully once everything here is operational, like I said, I'm hoping that it's going to be as efficient as I predict. So if you guys have any ideas transportation-wise that I should implement in the city, let me know down in the comments. One thing that I was actually thinking about implementing in downtown was a tram line. So, various old cities such as San Francisco and even Toronto, they have a very developed tram line system. And, this is something that I've always been interested in doing in various cities that I've ever built, but I've never actually placed down a tram line in the game yet. So if this is something that you'd be interested in, drop a comment. Actually, I might just place a poll on the video. So vote if you would like me to implement a tram line in an upcoming episode in downtown. I'd be curious to know how that would work. So with the basic outline of this entire area being complete, and by that I mean, our main buildings and everything have been placed down, now it's time to detail the area as I'm doing right now with these fences. I'm going to be adding a lot of nice bushes and trees just to sort of plump up the area. So as I said, there's going to be a very wealthy marina section, so naturally the entire marina sort of has to look nice and clean. And as you can see, I'm actually playing the simulation right now, and I think the ferry is operational at this point. I had created the ferry line off camera, just from point A to point B between Burton and Timbukton. And as you can see, there is quite a few people walking on that sidewalk and on my little ramp there. And as you just seen, a boat has been leaving the port. So it seems to be working quite efficiently. So it's obviously not going to be to its full potential just right yet, as we don't have any bus lines in the city at the moment. That's something I'm looking forward to developing in a later episode. I'm looking forward to creating some bus lines between Burton and Timbukton as well, so that'll ease a little bit of the traffic going through the ferry service. On a side note, as you can see down below, the city population is about 21,000 people and climbing because of all the people moving into the apartments and such. So the city is starting to be quite functional, and I'm a little bit worried actually because it's starting to put a strain on my system quite a bit, especially when playing the simulation. There's just so many things going on. I'm averaging like 6 FPS, I swear, like while I'm actually playing the game. So, I mean, it's only appropriate to speed everything up. And I've actually downloaded a simulation speed mod a couple of months ago probably. And that basically allows you to slow down the simulation speed of the game. So, as you can see down in the left corner of my screen, I think that says 85%. I can't quite tell. But basically, my game is running at 85% speed. So, all the cars and everything will be traveling a little bit slower than they would normally, and that just helps to slow or to smoothen out everything, just so the game isn't pushing my system as hard. And to create very smooth animations, this is a must-have mod, because what it enables you to do is to create a cutscene that would be maybe 30 seconds long with the simulation down to like 50% maybe. And once you edit that in your video editor, you can just speed up the footage, and everything looks a lot smoother than if you were just playing your cinematics at live speed in the game. Then you're obviously going to get some choppiness and some lagginess as well. So ever since I've had this mod here, creating cinematics have been a breeze. It does require a lot more time though to create the animations, as you need to slow everything down, right? So your cutscenes are a lot longer. So we're almost approaching the end of the episode here, and as I'm finishing up the final details on our port, I'm going to be adding a lot of decals and things like that, just to make the area a little bit more grungy, because obviously the port is a very old area of town. Just judging by the look of this building here, you can tell So the whole city is sort of going to have that feel, right? It's an old port city, similar to maybe New York or Boston, old brick buildings and stuff everywhere. That is essentially what's going on here. So for the next episode, guys, I can't really announce to you what is going to happen, as I'm not sure as of the time that I was editing this video. Maybe by the time it's released on YouTube, I will have decided. But for now, I have no idea what I'm going to be doing. So I presume we're going to be working in the downtown area, maybe some residential, or jump right into detailing the actual downtown core, but I'm not too sure. It'll depend how or what I feel I should be doing next. But for now, guys, I really hope you enjoyed this episode, as this was a really fun project to work on, as I've never done anything like this. A large scale port, and it's the beginning of something pretty big. So I'm super excited to get started on this. And, Timbukton has been going great so far, much better than I anticipated. So I can't wait till the majority of the city is complete, where we can zoom out and say, just wow, like it's amazing what we've created. And what I'm excited about the most, I guess, is actually finishing a project from A to Z. So like I've been saying in previous episodes, my problem is that I start to develop a huge, massive project and I never actually finish it. And with Timbukton, I'm looking to end that trend, I guess. Well, it's not a trend, but I mean, you know what I mean. But yeah, I'm just so excited. I'm not really rushing to finish the project or anything like that. I mean, I'm still going to be a little sad once it's done for. And I'm hoping that it survives till the end, because I don't want it to suffer the same fate as Aubrey City. But if everything all goes well, we should finish this entire project, and I can't wait for that. So it'll probably be another year or two, we'll see. But it'll hopefully be just in time for the next City Skylines successor, and we'll just have to see how everything goes. So yeah, if you like this episode, guys, please give it a thumbs up. Also, feel free to subscribe to the channel for much more content on the way. And also leave a comment, guys, what you think I should work on next. And also, don't forget to vote if you would like there to be a tram system in downtown Timbukton. I personally feel like there should be. So hopefully you guys feel the same way. And we'll be able to develop that in a few episodes. So yeah, with all that being said, guys, until the next episode, please take care.